Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing the 1937 film Lost Horizon, starring Jane Wyman. To me, she's the only real big name in this movie. I don't recognize any of the names of the other actors. Because this movie is based on a famous novel, which I read many years after this movie came out in high school. Not only I read it many years after this movie came out, but there was another version of Lost Horizon, a musical version, starring Sally Kellerman, from movies like Back to School, and she was in the 1970 movie MASH, and of course eventually became a television show, and she starred in that version. She actually did her own singing and dancing in that film, and I thought she was quite good. And I thought that version was good, but I think it was made even better than this movie. This film originally was 2 hours and about 12 minutes long, and there was a scenes cut. And it was cut down for either television, years later when television came out, or other re-releases of the film. So they went back and they tried to restore it, and the scenes got lost, and they did the same thing with this movie like they did with the 1954 version of A Star Is Born, and they put in still pictures with the actual audio dialogue of the missing scenes to link the whole movie together. They did that with the 1954 Judy Garland version of A Star Is Born, which is the best version of A Star Is Born. No disrespect to Lady Gaga and the Bradley Cooper version, but that version was the best one, the Judy Garland one. Well, Lost Horizon, like I said, is based on a famous novel, and it's about a group of people who were in the book. It says people traveling on a plane crashes. The people survive except for the pilot. The pilot died, but the passengers all lived, and they happened to come across this mysterious little world that was hidden away in the Himalayas called Shangri-La, which nobody ages. You live there forever, and basically that's it. And of course the movie, at least in the 37 version, the people were kidnapped and transported to Shangri-La. But the problem was that the pilot didn't judge properly the fuel, ran out of fuel, and the plane crashes. And the pilot dies, but the passengers live. And one of the passengers, his name was Robert Conroy, who was there with his brother, plus two other guys, and one woman who was sick. It was implied that she was dying of cancer, but she has some terminal illness, and of course it's implied it was cancer. But she has some illness. The situation was with her, and while they're trying to survive in a plane crash, trying to maybe go and look for civilization, there's a group of people who came from Shangri-La, found them, and escorted them to a place where you can find at least some safety, at least some warmth, some change of clothes, whatever. And so they went there and they met a guy named Chang, who tells them what's going on and what the land is about and stuff. And Conroy, at least one of them, his name is Robert Conroy, the older brother, he was the one who was, a big shot. He was like a diplomat, for England. So he wanted to get back to England because that's where everybody's going to be looking for him. He said, nobody's going to find you here because we're too remote, too isolated. No one's ever found us. And then eventually Conroy meets with the High Lama of Shangri-La and tells him I'm 200 years old. And he goes, oh come on, how can anybody live for 200 years? And I heard people live for 100 years, a little more than 100 years, but 200? No way, it's impossible. And yeah, it's very impossible because we have some kind of crazy mojo thing going on here, and nobody ever ages. And if anybody comes here with any diseases, they don't. The diseases revert back to when they never had, like never had to begin with. So one person said, "Oh, I don't." At first, they don't believe it, and Robert Conway's brother in the film, he just wants to get out as soon as he can, stay there for a couple of days, and get out of there. As soon as he finds out that they have no radio, they have no telegraph equipment to send a telegraph or send some Morse code to England or something. They have no radio. They have no real communications to the outside world, and so he was like, "I want to get out of here as soon as possible." Meanwhile, there were two other guys who were like the comedic characters in this film. They wanted to stay there because they like talking to the kids. There's a bunch of kids who lives there in Shangri-La, and they wanted to meet them, and like them, like teach them stuff and what they did before and what stuff in the outside world, teaching them was going on in the outside world and stuff. And so the kids like that. The kids like they were being entertained by these two guys. And you had a woman there who, like I mentioned earlier, was sick of cancer, and she found out that she could get better by staying there for a while, and so she wanted to stay. And then it found out there was this one particular woman who wants to leave Shangri-La because she can't stand it anymore. The problem was that she's been living in Shangri-La since 1888, for about 50 years, about 50 years staying there in Shangri-La. And she can't stand this peace and harmony crap and wants to leave. The problem is that anybody who's there for that length of time, like this woman was, they were aged like that, or go to where they actual, or look like what the actual age is, and maybe die if they leave. And that's what they were told. And so you can't leave because if you go outside, you die in the wilderness out here. So what happens is, this one particular woman does go along, and what happens? She does age. She didn't believe that she would age outside. Well, she did, and not only did she age, but she died, and she was in love with Robert Conway's brother. And when he found out what happened to this woman, he got so upset he screamed, and then he fell off a mountain. So he dies. Robert Conway's brother dies. The girl that he was in love with dies. So now you have Robert Conway all by himself. He lost track because they had some porters who delivered supplies to Shangri-La, and they lost him. And it was so far behind that the porters decided to scare these guys, to scare the Conway brothers and this girl. Shot a couple of times at them, didn't hit them, but caused an avalanche. So they go, oh shit. And the avalanche just killed all the porters. So now Robert Conway is all there by himself, and he happens to find another village, and he did end up getting transported back to England, where he gets better and stuff, but he keeps talking about Shangri-La. And at first they thought the guy was out of his effing mind, but then what happened was he broke out of the hospital and got transported back to Tibet and go back to Shangri-La at the end of the movie. Now I don't remember him. I read the book. True, it's been over 30 years since I read this book. For high school. But I never remember a scene where the Robert Conway character goes back to, Shangri-La. I remember he gets saved, and I remember him getting saved and going back to civilization to get out of there. I remember that the girl died. I think there was two people that actually got out of Shangri-La in the book, and both of them aged. And I remember that I think it was actually one person that got out and died, like in the movie, but. Remember that they all. I think remember that they all got out. Not just Robert Conway. I think they all left, and they were convinced to leave, and they left, and made it back to civilization, and that's it. And I remember Robert Conway going back and said, "Oh, that's why we should go back." Yada yada yada. I remember that type of a conversation, We don't remember him actually breaking out of the hospital, going back to Tibet to find Shangri-La again. That I don't remember from the book. But they had that in the movie. I think also they had a couple of other versions of Lost Horizon as well, where Robert Conrad goes back, tries to go back to Shangri-La in the end. But as a movie, I didn't think it was too bad. I know what the story was because I've seen other versions of the movie, of the story, because it's been done several times. Like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, it's been done so many times. They know exactly what the story is going. Even if you've never seen any of the other versions, if you haven't seen all the versions, all you have to do is see like one version and you know how it ends. That's what Lost Horizons, because it's been done so many times as well. Maybe not as many as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but not enough to say, hey, you know how the story ends. But the movie is not that bad. I mean, it is entertaining for what it is, even though it's over. It was made in 1937, so it's a real old movie, but it's worth watching and it's worth seeing. So that's my review of the movie Lost Horizon. Please click on the video, please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel about rowdyc.com. It's all WDY, C.com. It's the homepage of Rowdy Reviewer, Christine Moore, and please check out all of his videos on this website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.